In this video, we will show you how to replace your outside rear view mirrors on this Dodge Ram 1500. These will be mounted to your front doors. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our mirror replacement. We're going to have to remove the inside door panel. To remove the door panel, let's start with the inside grab handle. There's going to be 2 Phillips head screws inside this area. Remove the pair and remove the grab handle from the door panel. A quick inspection of the mounting hardware as we continue. Replace as necessary. Now, to remove the inside grab handle from the door panel, you may find that it's stuck down. If you need to pry it in some way, just be extremely careful not to cause any damage to your door panel. Just flex this. A quick inspection of that inside grab handle and we'll set it aside. Now, since this vehicle has crank windows, we're going to have to remove the inside window crank handle here. If you were to carefully look in between the crank handle and the door panel itself, you're going to find that there's a shaft that leads to this, and there's a locking clip on it. You could remove that locking clip by using a pick. This can be a little bit difficult, or you could use one of the specialty tools that's made for it. This is a door handle clip removal tool. For this tool in particular, you just want to make your way straight down along like this. We're going to make our way along the inside area here and gently press that clip out of place. Now, while you're pressing this down as far as it can go, you should be able to pull this handle off of here. Now we can turn this around and I'm going to show you exactly what's going on. We have this little washer area here with a foam grommet. And then there's that locking clip that I had mentioned. If you are using a pick, you would actually want to make your way on this outboard side, not on the inboard side here, so you can make your way in and gently pull it out of place. That's going to take some patience, but it can be done. Now let's move all the way to the upper corner of our inside door panel. You're going to find another Phillips head screw. We can remove this. Now, continuing from there, we're going to use a plastic trim tool. We'll have to start separating the door panel from the door itself. You want to use plastic so you don't scratch up your paint and cause any damage. We'll just carefully make our way in between this area. There's going to be several push clips making their way across. We just want to essentially start dislodging this. Once you get underneath there, you should be able to start pulling it away. Continuing on, we're going to lift it up, but we're also going to have to hold on to the inside door handle. When you pull this up, you just want to pull the panel away from the door handle. We'll twist as necessary. Set that aside. With the door panel out of the way, we're going to be focusing up inside this corner of the door. Typically, you're going to find an insulator. We'll go ahead and pull that out of place. I'm using my plastic trim tool. Once again, I don't want to cause any damage to my paint. Now, behind this area, we can see this insulator. We'll go ahead and remove that. You can set it aside. Just work that right out of place. With the insulator out of the way, we can see the mounting hardware for the original mirror. There's 3 10mm headed mounting nuts holding onto the studs, and the studs are attached to the mirror itself. We can remove the first 2 mounting nuts. As for the third one, make sure you're holding onto the mirror. That's the last thing holding the mirror to the door. Your new mirror should come with new mounting hardware. We'll just give these an inspection and set them aside. Third mounting nut, I'm holding the mirror. Let's go ahead and give that a wiggle. Separate it from the door. There it is, friend. Before we install the brand new mirror, go ahead and have a look at the outside of your door where the mirror is going to be rested against. Commonly, you're going to find some miscellaneous debris, so we'll go ahead and clean this up and ensure it's not rotted in any way. I'm just going to use some glass cleaner directly on a clean rag here, and we'll wipe this down. Obviously, be extremely careful not to scratch up any paint. You can clean that as well as you deem necessary. Okay, let's prepare to install our brand new mirror. We'll be coming through from the outside, straight on through all three of those mounting ports for the mounting studs. Press that all the way up against the door. Continuing on, we're going to make our way on the inside of the door now, continuing from here. Now that we have the mirror slid through there, I've applied some blue thread locker to the threaded portion of those studs. We'll go ahead and install our mounting bracket on this area. Once you have that slid into place, you can start on each of the 10mm headed mounting nuts onto the studs. Now, before you go ahead and tighten up the mounting hardware, it's important to take hold of the mirror, and we want to ensure that we have it pressed directly up against the door and it's seated right. Continuing on after that, we'll tighten each of these three nuts. Before I torque these, I'm going to make my way to the outside of the door and confirm everything's seated properly. Now we'll torque each of these to 5 foot-pounds. Making our way to the outside of the door, we're going to confirm that everything's seated properly. Go ahead and take hold of the mirror, give it a wiggle, make sure it's secure. Now that we're sure everything's torqued and tight with that mirror, we'll continue on with preparing to install the door panel. Before you do that though, you want to make sure you pay attention to the door itself. It's common that some of your push pins from your door panel are still attached to the door itself. If that's the case, you want to try to remove them. You can use a trim tool for this. For me personally, I'll try to grab onto it with some cutters, and then I'll also pry at it with a trim tool. As far as the cutters, I'm only squeezing hard enough to be able to hold it, but definitely not cut it in any way. You can pop that right out of place. Now we'll just check all the way around the door to each one of the mounting points. Now we're looking along the back side of the door panel. This is the area that will go up against the door. What you're paying attention for is all the mounting areas. They should have these little push pins in them that I just showed you removing from the door. If one had made its way out of position, just go ahead and reinsert it into the door panel. Inspect all the way around and we can prepare to install this into the door. Now that we have all those in place, we can start reinstalling the door panel. There's going to be a couple things that we want to pay attention to. First of all, we have the inside door handle. That will make its way through the door panel, and we also have our lock up along the top area here. Both of those need to be aligned. Let's go ahead and get this in position. I'm going to start by taking hold of that inside handle. I'll start lightly tugging on it as I bring this into position. Now before we press this in, we need to go ahead and get this in position as well, so I'm just going to take that inside door lock, slide it into its proper groove. Continuing on, you just want to try to get this about the right height where it should be, and then you want to take a peek in between the door and the panel itself. We're trying to align all of those push tabs with their corresponding ports, and then we'll drive this in. A quick confirmation, we're completely seated all the way around. We know we're seated. We'll continue on with our mounting screw up in this area. It can be a little bit difficult to try to find the port for the tip of this in the door itself. Generally, if you just wiggle it around a little bit, it should want to slide right in, and then you can snug this up. Now let's have a look at the window crank handle. I've removed that spacer so we can have a close look at the clip. We want to make sure we have this in the locked position, so you can just go ahead and take hold of that and press it inward. Sometimes you can do this by fingers, other times you just want to gently pry it in with maybe a pocket screwdriver of some sort. There we are. Now we can see those ears on the inside there. Before you install this onto the shaft, we want to make sure we put in our small spacer here. We'll have it in the proper orientation. As far as the orientation, the foam area should go up against the door panel. Let's get it in position. Now once you feel as though you have it aligned with the original mounting point there, we're just going to go ahead and press it in. Listen for a click, ensuring that it's properly locked. We'll go ahead and give it a little tug, and then attempt to function the window. Let's install the inside door handle here. Just go ahead and press that down, double check, make sure it looks like it's seated. Continue on with your 2 Phillips head screws. We'll start those in by hand and snug them up. Okay friend, we finished our installation. The next thing you want to do is make the adjustments to your mirror as necessary. You can typically just go ahead and take hold of this and tip it around as needed. Other than that, you do have a secondary function here where you can tip this up as a tow mirror. At that point, you'd want to make sure that you reset the angle of the mirror so you can see directly behind the vehicle. Aside from that, thanks for watching.